Hey guys, welcome to my guide on Demonic Gorillas. Before we start, I just want to mention that I'll be posting a lot more updated, high quality guides like this one, so if you find them helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of the video. We'll first start off with requirements and recommendations. First, to kill Demonic Gorillas, you must have completed the Monkey Madness 2 quest. Second, it's highly recommended you kill Demonic Gorillas on a Black Demon Slayer task for the Slayer Helm's bonuses. In terms of stats, 75 attack for the Arc Light, 75 range for the Toxic Blowpipe, and 75 defense for Carol's armor will give you a huge advantage for killing Demonic Gorillas. High level prayers are also beneficial. Piety and Rigor will greatly increase your kills per hour. In the Arceus spellbook, there are a couple useful spells. 73 magic for Ward of Arceus, which reduces demonic damage by 10%. 80 magic for Death Charge, which restores 15% spec after each kill. And with any high level monster, there's always a chance of dying, so always have 500k in the bank for your gravestone fee, extra royal seed pods, and staminas to run back to where you died. So we're now going to do a quick rundown of Demonic Gorillas. Demonic Gorillas are pretty powerful monsters. They have 380 hit points with combat stats all in the 200s. It also has additional aggressive stats which make its hits even more accurate, so having the correct prayers on is vital for this monster. Luckily, it has no extra defensive stats, so using a hybrid melee and range setup is highly recommended. Demonic Gorillas have an attack speed of 5 and use 2 different attacks. The first is its Boulder attack, and it can deal up to 40 damage. It's a completely silent attack and does this animation, and you have 2 seconds to get out of that 1x1 tile. It does this attack randomly throughout the fight, and it can also do it back to back, so you always have to be prepared for it. The second attack is a normal standard attack that can deal up to 31 damage if you're not using protection prayers. So we'll first start off with the melee attack, so this is how it looks with the game sound on. And here is how the ranged attack looks. And here's how the magic attack looks. With those attacks, there are also 2 mechanics that you have to deal with. The first mechanic that you'll see is that the gorilla switches protection prayers during the fight, where after it has taken 50 plus damage from you, it switches prayers to the weapon you're using. Pretty simple, you just change your weapon and attacking prayers as fast as possible and then re-attack the gorilla. The second mechanic you'll see is the gorilla switches attack styles during the fight, where after it does 3 hits of no damage on you with its standard attack, it switches styles. Our strategy is to always try to count its 3 missed hits during the fight, and when we've counted to 3, we switch to a new protection prayer, and we have a 50% chance of getting it right. If on its new hit we take 0 damage, you start the count at 1 in your head, and switch to the correct prayer if needed. If on the new hit you do take damage, you start the count at 0, and you have to switch to the correct prayer. So a lot of things will come together when we watch the example portion, but let's go ahead and set up our armor. This is the armor chart for high level players, and I've provided alternative options to the right. If you're a beginner, the Amulet of Blood Fury, Lightbearer, and Saradomin Godsword combo will practically make you invincible, so it's a great way for practicing on Demonic Gorillas. Here's the more mid to lower level setup. Like I mentioned previously, the Toxic Blowpipe is an amazing weapon to switch to for mid-level players. And my philosophy for fighting gorillas is a good offense is a good defense, so you could go for tank items on this chart, but what will really reduce damage is being comfortable being fast with weapon and prayer switching. And to wrap up how I like to get set up, but I always have my quick prayers set on Protect from Missiles and Piety, along with wearing my melee gear. When you reach the Demonic Gorilla location, you basically switch your protection prayer to whatever style the gorilla is using on you. And if the gorilla has Protect from Melee on, you just switch to your range setup, turn on Rigor, and you're good to go. Also just want to go over settings. For Runelight, all of these are my favorite that I like to have on. I like to have 2 screen markers on for Runelight, one for the Ward of Arceus spell and one for Death Charge. I like to have NPC attack options to left click where available. On both your melee and ranged weapon, make sure you have the most dominant style active with auto retaliate on. Also, my keybinds are set on F5 for spellbook, F6 for inventory, and F7 for prayers. If you do have F keys on your keyboard, you can practice switching between them before going in to fight Demonic Gorillas. Lastly, I just want to quickly go over the crash site Cavern, but after teleporting using our Royal Seed Pod, we run northwest to the gate. After entering the gate, we run northeast to the dungeon sign. When you enter, you'll be south of the Tortured Gorillas. The light blue area is all multi-combat, which we want to avoid. We want to head into the dark middle room following this path, turning on our quick prayers and then running to the most western part of that dark middle room. So here's the in-game example, and I like to pre-pot before going in, drinking a stamina, and then teleporting using my Royal Seed Pod. Let's go ahead, exit out the door, and then run northwest. Go through the opening, and from there, run northeast to the dungeon sign. Before going in, turn on your quick prayers, use your saturated heart if you have one too, and then we'll be running into the dark middle room. Just ignore all of the gorillas and keep running west. Be ready to switch your protection prayer to whatever the gorilla is using, and if it's protecting from melee, switch to your ranged weapon. Magic attack, protect from magic. It's now using melee, so protect from melee. Count is at 1. Attack number 2, 3, 0 because it did damage, 1, 2, 3, and then try predicting its next style. 1, and 2. Next gorilla, protect from magic. 1, 2, 3, and try predicting its next style. 1, 2, 3, try predicting. 1, 2, 3, try predicting. 0 because it did damage. Next gorilla. 0, 1, 2, 0, protect melee. 1, 2, 3, try predicting. 1, so I think you get the picture, but there were a couple times where the count didn't perfectly line up, and this was because the gorilla attacked another player before you. There's also a rule with demonic gorillas, but if you're ever wondering why the gorilla uses the same attack on you even after 3 missed hits, it's because to make the gorilla switch attack styles, you have to have the right protection prayer on during its 3rd missed hit. If you don't have the right prayer on for the 3rd missed hit, it can use the same or different style for the next 3 hits. Another tip is that when you hear this sound, you can recast Ward of Arceus. I also recommend moving the death charge timer closer to the inventory by holding down Alt on your keyboard and then left clicking the timer to move it around. But that is it for my Demonic Gorillas guide. If you enjoyed it, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions, I'll make sure to answer them in the comment box below. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.